What's up, guys? Your boy Benny. The year 2024, and there are no more rules. The operator's manual has been thrown out the window. You don't know what the hell to expect day after day. Another assassination attempt, another indictment, Joe Biden dropping out. You can only count on one thing as a consistent bedrock, actually, for the news cycle, and that is that Democrats will choose a Marxist to be their nominee as president. To be their entire ticket, in fact. We're learning some very interesting things about Tim Walz, who is serving in the most Marxist possible ticket imaginable. A lady who didn't win a single vote, didn't win a single primary, hasn't done a single interview, was just selected by the elites to be in charge. Who'd she pick as her vice president? Most people thought it was going to be the guy from Pennsylvania, a guy named Josh Shapiro. Made a lot more sense. But instead, Kamala goes with this dude, this really weird, gesticulating, limp-wristed, very soy individual named Tim Walz, who is just really creepy and has a lot of problems. And here's one of them. A whistleblower with the government who blew the whistle to government oversight about U.S. intelligence uncovering verified links between the Communist Chinese Party and vice presidential candidate Tim Walz. Well, this is interesting. Is Kamala Harris picking Tim Walz because he's a Chinese communist asset and they're going to assist in her victory? Is this where all the dark money is coming from, that's flowing into Kamala Harris? This happened with the Bidens. There's a paper trail of this happening with the Bidens. Is it happening all over again? Is it much, much worse? During the 118th Congress, this is a letter to Alejandro Mayorkas, in charge of the Department of Homeland Security. During the 118th Congress, the Committee on Oversight and Accountability has conducted a government-wide investigation on how federal agencies are addressing infiltration and influence by the Communist Chinese Party. This infiltration and influence tactic is a facet of a larger Cold War that the CCP utilizes, unrestricted warfare against America. CCP considered its main enemy. During its briefings with over 20 federal agencies in an investigation, the committee has learned of the emphasis on the CCP has placed on influencing subnational government leaders, including governors. Along those lines, the committee has recently received whistleblower disclosure informing the committee of serious concern among Department of Homeland Security personnel regarding the longstanding connection between the CCP and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Specifically, through whistleblower disclosures, the committee has learned of a non-classified Microsoft Teams group chat among DHS employees entitled NFT Biweekly Sync that contains information about Governor Walz that is relevant to the committee's investigation. The committee has also learned further relevant information regarding Governor Walz has been memorialized in both classified and unclassified documents in the control of DHS. The attached subpoena requires DHS to produce these documents and communication regarding Governor Walz's connection to the CCP. The subpoena is issued pursuant to this rule, the House of Representatives Committee rules. The committee investigation of the CCP began long before Governor Walz was elevated to the vice presidential candidate and Democrat presidential candidate for Kamala Harris, seeks to understand the extent of the CCP's infiltration and influence campaign, identify legislative reforms to combat communist political warfare targeting prominent Americans and elite capture. In particular, the state governor of a major political party's nominee for vice president of the United States has been wittingly or unwittingly participating in the Communist Chinese Party's efforts to weaken our nation, would strongly suggest that there's an alarming weakness in the federal government's effort to defend America against CCP political warfare and influence. It needs to be urgently addressed. Along those lines, the committee is currently considering legislative solutions to ameliorate deficiencies it already has identified among government agencies, strategies and to combat CCP political warfare. The information required by DHS by the committee subpoena will inform the committee's understanding of how successful the CCP has been at waging political warfare in the United States. Wow. So he's saying that he's a commie. He's working with the Communist Chinese Party. This is signed Chairman James Comer. This is very interesting. Nobody visits China 30 times. Tim Walz honeymooned in China. Bernie Sanders honeymooned in the Soviet Union. Isn't this interesting how this works? Tim Walz honeymooned in China. He went to China 30 different times. Why would you go to China 30 times? Dude, you're an asset. I don't think it's unwittingly. You're an asset. James Comer, of course, the guy who uncovered all of these connections to the Biden family. Jesse Kelly saying nobody goes to China 30 times. I've never been anywhere 30 times in my life, let alone a foreign nation. Imagine the dirt that China has on Tim Walz. That's right. Were they offering him like free trips to China in order to hoover up all the data on his phone? In order to plant a seed? In order to make him an asset? Is this why Tim Walz is somebody who locked his state down, created commie snitch lines in Minnesota, and created every conceivable like socialist and Marxist regulation in the destruction of that state? Is this why Tim Walz is openly advocating and cheering on the destruction of his state? Minnesota is like a totally good and peaceful state. Now it's a hellscape. Everyone's trying to flee Minnesota. The population is collapsing. This is why Tim Walz is so scared for the debate with J.D. Vance. Tim Walz fighting nerves ahead of debating Vance, sources say. CNN panel says that Tim Walz is having a hard time keeping up with his nerves under control the debate with J.D. Vance. Aides say Walz has expressed a lack of confidence in his ability to go up against a very well-trained lawyer type Vance. Walz is also feeling pressure. Bad performance will disappoint Kamala Harris, who has already privately expressed frustration with Walz's awkwardness and blunders on the campaign trail, such as referring to her as a prostituter. Glenn Walz, as Tim Walz's wife, is angry that her husband is being put through the humiliation. They could just have an inflatable, arm-wavy, tube-man guy go out and debate for Tim Walz. Comer subpoenas DHS record relating to Walz's alleged ties to communist parties. This is how it's done, boys. This is the headline that you need. Whistleblower notified Comer of non-classified DHS group chat with intelligence on Tim Walz being a dirty communist. You know, he does look like Mao Zedong, doesn't he? He has the same haircut and everything. This is, of course, a very bad timing because the debate is just a few hours from now. You know, it's tomorrow night. Donald Trump has been opening up big leads in election models. Now the election is almost in Trump's column and leaning Trump. Real Clear Politics now has Trump winning again and winning Pennsylvania. There is no path for Kamala Harris if she doesn't win Pennsylvania. And some of the larger and more important members of Congress who are also running for Senate here in the swing state of Michigan are saying that Kamala Harris is totally underwater in the internal pollings, not the fake polls that are, of course, all paid for by Barack Obama and the Democrat elite. These are the real polls done of real Michiganders. Here's the Senate candidate from Michigan.
I'm not feeling my best right now about where we are on Kamala Harris in a place like Michigan right now. We have her underwater in our polling.
Okay, that's not good. When Donald Trump goes to Michigan, it looks like this. Freaking majestic. Donald Trump goes to Michigan. I mean, look at that. Look at the size of these audiences. Look at that. Crazy, dude. This was Donald Trump in Michigan last week. One thing is clear, Americans want Trump back in office. That's right. Rasmussen still has President Trump clinging very stubbornly on to his 2- and 3-point advantages, has Trump winning in North Carolina and virtually tied in Virginia. Dude, this is crazy. New polling out today has Donald Trump winning effectively every single swing state, including Pennsylvania. CNN saying Kamala Harris is the worst Democratic performance in a generation with union voters, which are, of course, all important inside of states like Michigan, right? Auto manufacturing, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. Tim Walz got booed when he went to the Michigan game in total humiliation. Tim Walz got told to go F himself when he went inside the stadium. 2024, baby! Some say that he flipped off the fan. They yelled Trump 2024. I'll let you decide. But you know, bold strategy, especially if you are a Marxist, especially if you're a dirty communist from the CCP. Insane, or just like a total weirdo, right? Like Tim Walz will lose because he's just a weird dude. Here's a video that they voluntarily
waiting 60 years to come here.
It's like a religious experience for me.
Who laughs like that? the freaking Joker.
That is what's up, man?
Who move like if somebody says, "What's up, dude?" Do you ever go like this?
What's up, man? One coach to another, man.
The only time he was actually comfortable is when he was squatting, kneeling lower than all the cheerleaders, with the cheerleaders. What a creepy weirdo. I can't wait for JD Vance to kick this Marxist ass. Do it for all of us, JD. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. See ya.